I'm Travis Frame, and this is Frame by Frame, and today I'm going to be counting down my most anticipated movies of 2022. Now, a lot of people do their top 10, their top 15. I'm going to do my top 25, just because there's a lot of movies I'm really excited for. There's been so many that have been pushed back, and I think it's getting more excited about more movies is just really fun. So starting off with number 25 is actually going to be Avatar 2. I wouldn't say I'm super hyped for this movie, super excited really. I'm more just curious, and I'm really anticipating kind of what they do and how they move on from having not made a movie in this universe for so long, and just kind of what this follow-up is to this movie. At number 24 is Nope. I'm really curious to see what Jordan Peele does next. I wasn't really the biggest fan of Us. I thought it had some really, really good parts, but kind of fell a little bit short in some aspects. And then Get Out I thought was really good. I didn't think it was a masterpiece, but I thought it was really, really good, especially for a directorial debut. And I'm really excited for what Jordan Peele does next. The only kind of caution for me is just that there's literally nothing released about the movie other than a couple cast members. So I'm a little cautious about that, and especially with kind of some of my feelings about Us and how that movie ended. But I still think it will be a really good movie, and I'm really excited for it. Number 23 is Black Adam. I love superheroes. I'm really excited for this. My kind of main caution is just if they make another supervillain movie that is just a version of the hero. Like, I don't really like Venom. I prefer him as a Spider-Man villain. I know that in the comics that he can be kind of the way that he is in the movies, but I don't really like what they're doing with Venom right now, and I kind of hope they do Black Adam as like a true villain. So, but I'm still excited, and I think The Rock is great. So number 22 is going to be one of the two films Taika Waititi is releasing this year, and it's not Thor. So it's Next Goal Wins. I think that his movies are great. Obviously I love Thor, which we'll talk about later. But I really, really love kind of some of the smaller movies that he's done, with What We Do in the Shadows being my favorite, and his most recent films just being really good, with Hunt for the Wilder People and Jojo Rabbit. I just really like those movies, so I'm really excited to see what he does next. Number 21 is going to be Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Say what you will about the Aquaman movie. I thought it was really fun. I thought Aquaman 1 was really, really fun, and James Wan's awesome, so I think it will be a fun movie. Do I think it will be great? Maybe not, but I think it will be really fun. Number 20 is going to be Halloween Ends. I'm a big fan of the Halloween franchise. If you know me, you know that. I saw Halloween Kills opening night, and as flawed of a movie as it is, I really like it. I think it's fun. It's stupid, but it's fun. And I really love the 2018 Halloween, and I really love what David Gordon Green is doing with this kind of trilogy right now. And I'm just excited to see how Halloween ends. So number 19 is The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. It's a Nicolas Cage movie where Nicolas Cage plays Nicolas Cage. That's all I need to know. Number 18 is Scream. This is probably, I think, the first one that comes out this year. And what I'm really, really looking forward to. Scream is maybe my favorite horror movie franchise of all time. Definitely competing a little bit with Halloween and Nightmare on Elm Street, but I think Scream probably takes the cake for me for my number one. And I'm probably going to go see it this upcoming weekend, just because I'm really excited. So by the time this video is out, I'll probably know what I think about Scream. But up until then, I'm really excited. Number 17 is The Black Phone. I'm really excited for it because I've just heard really good things about it from early festivals and stuff. Obviously, I don't get to go to those, but until I do, I will just be anticipated for movies I hear good things about. And Ethan Hawke's always amazing. Number 16 is Taika Waititi's other movie, Thor: Love and Thunder. I loved Thor: Ragnarok. I'm excited to see where it goes. The only reason it's not higher on my list is a fourth film in the MCU, kind of after it seems like Thor's kind of had his arc as a character. I'm a little bit cautious to see where they go, but I think it will be a blast. I think it will be really fun, and I trust that Taika Waititi and Kevin Feige know what they're doing at this point, and I think it will be really fun. Number 15 is The Son, Florian Zeller's second film after The Father, which was my second favorite film of 2020. The cast is absolutely amazing with Vanessa Kirby, Anthony Hopkins, Hugh Jackman, and Laura Dern. I mean, The Father was just a soul-crushingly sad movie, but it was done so perfectly that I am really just excited to see what happens with this. I don't think it's going to be a super fun movie like Thor. I don't think it's going to be a super entertaining movie like maybe a Scream or Halloween, but I think this is going to be a really, really high-quality film. Number 14, continuing my trend of including a ton of superhero movies on this list, is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 1. I love the first one. It's awesome. I love Spider-Man, obviously, and it's going to be fun. There's no way that it is terrible. And maybe it doesn't live up to the expectations I have after how good the first one was. But, I mean, as long as the animation's anywhere close to how good the animation was in the first one, and I bet it's going to be even better, it's going to be fun to watch and a great experience. Number 13 is The Whale, Darren Aronofsky. He's one of my favorite directors of all time, and it's going to be weird. It's probably going to be strange. It's probably going to be disturbing. I like the idea of Brendan Fraser in a Darren Aronofsky movie, so I think that will be interesting. But if Darren Aronofsky releases a movie, I'm going to be looking forward to it. Number 12 is Mission Impossible 7. I'm sure it will get another name once it gets closer to release. But I mean, I think Mission Impossible is one of the most consistent action franchises at the moment. Maybe the best action franchise at the moment. The only ones that I really think give it a run for its money are probably John Wick, which got delayed, so that's why it's not on this list. Otherwise, it 100% would, because I love John Wick. But I mean, ever since they went off number to Ghost Protocol, Rogue Nation, and recently with Fallout, the Mission Impossible movies have just been absolutely incredible and just big theater movies. That's just the way to watch them, as it is for everything. But they're just special movies to watch in the theater, so I'm really excited for that. Number 11 is Disappointment Boulevard. It's Ari Aster's new film. I really, really liked Hereditary, and I liked Midsommar even more. So I'm immensely excited to see what he does next, especially since it seems like he's kind of stepping out of the horror realm. IMDb still classifies this movie as a horror film, so I know that it still might be, but it definitely seems a little bit different than what he's been doing in the past. Joaquin Phoenix seems like a great actor to star in a Ari Aster film, so I'm just really excited for that. Number 10 is White Noise. It's Noah Baumbach's new film, and he is exceptional. I went on a kind of a kick with him after watching Marriage Story, and I've just loved all of his films. He's such a talented writer and a really, really talented director. Obviously, Marriage Story, if you watched the T-Bass, was one of my favorite movies of that year. It was nominated a ton of times, and I'm just looking forward to see what he does next. Again, kind of like The Son, I imagine it will not be a super happy movie. Maybe it's more along the dark comedic lines of some of Baumbach's films, but if it's a comedy, if it's a drama, I'm there for it, because I'm just excited to see what he does. Number 9 is Don't Worry Darling, which is Olivia Wilde's second film, her follow-up to Booksmart. Speaking of these films, I mean, Mission Impossible Fallout earlier, I have a poster in my room, and Booksmart, I also have a poster, so that can tell you a little bit about one of the reasons why I'm excited for this movie. I think Olivia Wilde's directorial debut with Booksmart was absolutely amazing. It was a blast. It was so funny. I watched it multiple times in theaters, and I just think it was just a really, really fun experience. So now her kind of going in a different direction with maybe more of a horror movie, allegedly, I think sounds really interesting. Kind of see what she can do in flexing her directorial muscles, branching out from starting with a comedy and going to just a completely different kind of story. And that sounds incredible. Florence Pugh, Olivia Wilde, Chris Pine, and Harry Styles is an interesting collection of actors, but I think they'll do really, really good, especially under the helm of Olivia Wilde. Number 8 is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Sam Raimi. That's the main reason I'm excited. Obviously, I love Doctor Strange. I love the MCU, and I love the visuals of what they do with the Doctor Strange movies and what he does in other movies, but it's really that Sam Raimi's coming back to helm a superhero movie that is what has me the most excited, and I cannot wait. I think that movie is going to be just mind-blowing in terms of what Raimi does when he comes back. Number 7 is The Flash. Again, more superhero movies, I know, but these are what I'm excited for, and I'm excited for The Flash. I think that what happened with the DCEU, with the Snyderverse, kind of gave it like a fresh start. I know that Warner Brothers isn't technically keeping with that official universe, and some things are going to be different going forward, but I liked Ezra Miller as The Flash, and the changes that they made with him with the Snyder Cut, I think completely redeemed his character and how they treated the character of The Flash. I love the idea of bringing back Michael Keaton and using this to kind of transition into the next phase of what this universe is going to do after the whole mess of what they've done so far. But this, it seems cool. It seems exciting. I like that Andy Muschietti is directing. I loved what he did with the It films, and I'm excited to see what he does with a superhero film. And I think it'll be really interesting. And I love The Flash, so I'm really excited. Number 6 is The Way of the Wind, which is Terrence Malick's new film. It is something I don't know a lot about, but I've become really, really interested in the work of Terrence Malick. George Widmer, the cinematographer of A Hidden Life, which is my favorite Terrence Malick film, is coming back to helm this. If you've watched the T-Bass, you know that he won the T-Bass for A Hidden Life for cinematography. I think that regardless of what the story is, what happens in it, I think it will be gorgeous. It will look nice. That's a fact. It's not a debatable thing. It will be a nice looking film. And the story seems interesting in following some of like biblical events and kind of tackling that. And if he does anything like what he did with Tree of Life and having it be highly metaphorical and just kind of a beautiful journey that it takes you on, I'm all for that. And I'm really, really excited to see what Terrence Malick does. Number 5 might be kind of unexpected if you know me. It's The Northman. So I loved the trailer. I think the trailer looks so awesome. But if you know me, you know that I have kind of mixed opinions on Robert Eggers. I really like The Lighthouse, and I really did not like The Witch. So I have these two kind of conflicting opinions on this director, but this looks different from either of those two films. It looks just as visually stunning. It looks just as competently helmed, and the cast is amazing. And I'm really excited for it because I feel like it's going to be unique. It could just be a standard revenge movie, but I feel like there's no way that the guy that did The Lighthouse and The Witch, regardless of my opinions on those films, I feel like there's no way he does something that's bland or boring in a sense that feels like we've seen it before. Maybe it's not as intriguing and I don't find it super interesting like I found The Witch. Maybe it's all over the place and kind of bananas like The Lighthouse. Maybe it's something completely different. Either way, I am really, really looking forward to this. Number 4 is Babylon. If you know me, you know that La La Land and Whiplash are two of my favorite movies of all time. Both are in my top 10. And I really enjoy First Man. I don't think it's on the level of those two, but I think it's really good. It's a story about Hollywood with Tobey Maguire, Margot Robbie, Brad Pitt, Olivia Wilde, and Samara Weaving, directed by Jamie Giselle. I'm going to be excited for it. I love stories about Hollywood. I just do. And I fell in love with La La Land. It is masterful in every sense of the word, in my opinion. And I kind of like to see Giselle returning to kind of that tribute to Hollywood that he's done. And I don't need to know anything more than that he's directing, but the fact that I know a little bit more makes me even more excited. And I think that there's a good chance that it's one of my favorites of the year. Hopefully it doesn't disappoint me, but I'm really, really looking forward to it. Number 3 is Killers of the Flower Moon. Martin Scorsese is my favorite director of all time. He obviously made The Irishman recently, which, again, a T-Bass favorite. And the cast with DiCaprio and De Niro, with A Crime Story. I think it's going to be really good. Scorsese doesn't make bad movies, and if Scorsese, like what I've said about some of these other directors like Aronofsky or Baumbach, or even some of the upcomers like Olivia Wilde and Florian Zeller, if these people that I love the filmography that they have in the past, or even if it's just the one film, I'm going to be excited for the work. And Martin Scorsese is my favorite, and that's why he's at number 3. And you might be asking, what could possibly be above Scorsese? What could be above Travis's favorite director of all time? I don't know why I just referred to myself in the third person. But number 2 is Everything Everywhere All at Once. My favorite film of all time is Swiss Army Man. The Daniels are back, their first film and their only film together outside of Swiss Army Man, and it looks wild. If you had told me that the follow-up to Swiss Army Man by these directors would be a multiverse hopping, crazy, bananas original story, I wouldn't guess that, but that's 100% what I feel like makes sense. The trailer doesn't make sense to me because it's just so crazy, but that premise and that story and the trailer, it makes sense to me. And they're the people that made my favorite movie of all time, and I cannot wait for this movie. This is opening night. What could beat that? And if you know me, you know what it is. You've been waiting for it for this whole list. Probably not, but you know what it is. It's number 1 is The Batman. It's not really particularly close. Maybe a little close with Everything Everywhere All at Once, but Batman is my favorite superhero of all time. I'm a massive comic book nerd. Matt Reeves is exceptional. He's done a lot of really good work with the Planet of the Apes films, and he adapted Let Me In from Let the Right One In really well. I don't think it's quite as good as the original Swedish version, but there's definitely hints of masterful filmmaking within that movie. And the trailers, every single one, looks incredible. The cast is amazing. I don't care that it's another dark and gritty Batman. I don't care that it's such and such number of times that we've had a new Batman. I don't care. It's a new Batman movie, and it looks awesome, and I'm going to see it opening night. I'll probably see it second night. I'll probably see it multiple times in theaters. Unless it's bad, of course, but I think it's going to be pretty great. I'm pumped, unbelievably pumped. It's maybe the most excited, most anticipated I've ever been about maybe any movie ever, and that says a lot. I wasn't really a big film buff. I wasn't really as into film when the Dark Knight trilogy came out. Looking back, those are some of my favorite comic book movies of all time, and without a doubt, those would have been my most anticipated movies of all time. Christopher Nolan making Batman, what could be better? And while I don't know if this will surpass that it's going to be a really hard task, it definitely has a shot. It looks great, and I haven't been this excited about a movie in a while. Some of the other ones I've been as excited for have been the Spider-Man that just came out and the new James Bond, but I think this one even tops those two because I love Batman so much, and I'm really excited. So kind of on an end note, if any of these 25 films don't come out this year, they'll probably be on my most anticipated of next year. I'm basing it all off of what's supposed to come out this year, what's supposed to be released. Obviously, there's probably going to be more delays. When I first made the list, John Wick 4 was on here. Like a day later, it got delayed. So we'll have to see. But this is my list at the moment. This is what it's going to be. Hopefully, it doesn't take me another 5 years to release the most anticipated movies list. And along with this video, I'm going to release a reaction / kind of retrospective look at my top 20 or top 10 most anticipated movies of 2017 that I did over 5 years ago. And just kind of look back at that, and I'll probably do something similar at the end of this year, looking back at these 25 movies, just kind of retrospectively, because obviously it never turns out. I'm sure that these won't be my 25 favorite movies of the year. Some of them might be top 5, some of them might be bottom 5. You never really know, but nonetheless, I'm excited for all of them. I think it's going to be a really, really fun year in movies. There's some filmmakers that are returning to make films. There are some really fun, kind of wacky, dumb, absurd movies, and there's some really high caliber Oscar contender kind of movies. So I hope you guys are looking forward to some movies, and let's have a fun year in film.